Well, hi folks. Welcome back to the Sty Shack. Sty's got a story for you. This one's called The Deer Stand That Didn't. Alright. This happened here in Wisconsin several years ago. Like 2000, I'd say around 2002 or so. I was bow hunting, and I hadn't bow hunted for years, and a buddy of mine had convinced me to get back into it. So, yeah, I'll get back into bow hunting. So I bought myself a really nice bow, nice compound bow, all the gear. Gave me an excuse to buy all new camo. I love my camo. Bought all new camo. All bow hunting. Anything bow hunting related. I went out and I splurged. Got everything. Started going out, scouting out areas where we're going to bow hunt. Here in Wisconsin, you're allowed to bait deer, which is real handy during bow season. And there was a spot that my buddy told me about, and he says, I've got a deer stand set up in this spot, and he told me where the trail was and how to get into where his deer stand was. Well, he told me that there's been a really nice buck that's been visiting that stand, and he says, I think if you went out there for a couple of days and put some corn down, that he'll be in there if you want to wait a few days, get him used to coming in, and you get up in that stand and he'll come right in there and you get him. I said, I'm game, I'll go for it. So I went and checked that spot out, and there's that stand. Now he went way out on a limb. He stole the sections off of another stand, and the ladder sections, and he had that deer stand. It was a single-seater standard deer stand strapped to the tree with the ladders, and it's about 18 feet to that stand. Now you start getting 18, 20 feet, it gets a little dangerous up there. So when I hiked in with some corn to put down, I put the corn down, then I went over and I started checking out that stand, and I'm looking at all the straps that are holding the supports for the stabilizers for the ladders, and I could see way up there the strap going around for the stand itself, the seat and the platform. So I headed up. I get up there, and I'm checking the strap out, making sure it's in good condition, it's not dry rotted, blah blah blah, and that the ratchet's tight. I ratcheted it even a couple nicks further just to keep it good and snug, and I checked it, and it had a safety chain around it also, and the safety chain was in place. All looked good. I sat in that stand and I'm looking out over the area I'm hunting and where the bait pile was, and that deer would be about 25-30 yards from me if you come into that bait pile. Perfect, couldn't ask for more. So I went in the next couple of days or so and replenished the bait pile each day. Then came the day I'm going to hunt. Now the days I went in to replenish, I didn't pay attention to the deer stand at all. I had no reason to. No more than a glance to see that, nobody's messed with it or nothing. And that it's still there, nobody stole it. Well, the day I was going to go hunting, of course you head out there and it's pitch black. You want to be out, if you're bow hunting, you want to be out in them woods. Oh, personally, you got to be in the woods a minimum of an hour before sunup. And I like to be out there an hour and a half, 2 hours before sunup. I'll sit up there and I'll have a quiet cup of coffee in the first hour, and then the second hour I just sit and settle in and get myself prepared for some action as soon as that sun starts to peek over the horizon. Well, I get there. I got all my gear. I've got my day pack with me with sandwiches. In case I'm not lucky that morning, I might sit it out into the rest of the day. And so I brought something to eat, and I brought 2 thermoses of hot coffee. So I was set. I was all set. Plus I got my bow, all my gear, everything. I get there to the base of the deer stand. Now remember, I'm telling you, it's pitch black out. And I'm looking the best I can at that stand. Everything looks in order. I grabbed the ladder, shook the ladder. Yeah, it's solid. I had a line that attached to my day pack that was also attached to my bow. And when I get to the top of the deer stand and get settled and set down and everything's in place, and I've got my harness on, my safety harness, then I hike my bow up. Well, I climbed up that deer stand, and in the dark, I get up there, and it's more touch than it is see. I get up there, everything seems okay. I turn around, sit down, just getting relaxed, and I hike my bow up, and I had put a screw type hook in a limb that was just above me and off to the side, off to my left side, that I could, it was a bow hanger, so I could hang my bow there. So I hung my bow there, and I hadn't taken the tether off of it that was attached to my belt. That was still hanging there, about 10-12 feet of it. And I just settled in and pulled my thermos out, grabbed a cup of coffee, drank that cup of coffee, and I don't know, I guess I just kind of snoozed a little for a while. And then the next thing I knew, I'm starting to be able to see. The sun's getting close to rising, so now we're getting some visibility. That sun finally starts breaking over the horizon, and fortunately for me, it's kind of off and to the back of me, so it's not my face. Here comes this beautiful buck, comes walking out, and he's leery, and he's checking all around, and I can see him moving through the brush, and he's uncertain about coming into that bait pile, and it's like he knows something's different. Well, so I ease my bow off of the hook, get it around in front of me, I knock an arrow, and I'm all set. I'm ready. Just come on into that bait pile, fella, and I'm going to take you down. He comes into the bait pile. I draw that bow and get a bead on him. And just as I got a bead on him, it was weird because I got a good tight bead on him. I'm not shaking. Everything's good and tight. All of a sudden, I'm losing my target. It's like I'm tipping forward, and I lift the bow back up, and I'm going, what the heck? And I lost it again. And that's when I realized my deer stand is coming away from the tree. I dropped that bow, and I let the arrow just fly, and dropped the bow, and spun around as quick as I could, and bear hugged that tree too late. It was so far out from it that my hands slipped off the bark, and that deer stand stood straight up and down, about 2.5, 3 feet from the tree. Just far enough I couldn't get a grip on that tree to pull myself back. Now here's the worst part. Because I dozed off, when I first got there, I forgot to put my safety harness on. So I wasn't attached to the tree. My body was not attached to the tree like it should be, like it always should be. I held on to the back of the seat of that deer stand, and I tried leaning forward, and it made the deer stand want to go out. I tried to stand up straight and figured if I have to, I can jump and grab the tree. The minute I tried to stand up straight, that deer stand would come out further. If I stayed in a bent over position, holding the back of that seat, it stayed nice and vertical to that tree, but 2.5, 3 feet from the tree. I just did not know what I was going to do to get myself back to that tree. And here's a real kicker. I took my right hand and I started slowly dragging the tether line for my bow and stepping on it when it get up just so far, and then get a new grip on it and pull a little further, another 1.5, 2 feet, step on it, just like that until I got the bow all the way up to the deer stand. Managed to lift the bow up and drop it between me and the back seat. And every time I moved, that dang deer stand would start to weave, and it always wanted to lean out away from the tree. So I got enough of that line, and I got about maybe a 4-foot loop of line. Yeah, about a 4-foot loop. And I kept swinging that loop, swinging that loop. Finally, that loop caught on the bow hanger, and I was able to pull on that. And that tether's lightweight. It's only made to handle like 25 pounds. And I'm pulling on that, and it was just enough to start pulling the deer stand to the tree. Finally, that deer stand touched the tree, and I managed to get my arms around it. Then I managed to get into my day pack that was hanging off the side of it, get a hold of my harness, and I used the harness to actually lash the stand to the tree. Then I inspected the tree stand's actual lashing, and what it was the lashing was fine, perfectly fine. The chain was perfectly fine. But looking at it, the only way it could have come unlashed from the tree was for them to pull the strap all the way out of the buckle, because the way the strap was attached to the stand itself, it wouldn't come off, because they were like eye bolts that went into the straps that were bolted. They had nuts and washers on them. It was not coming off. What you did was you got up there, you threw the loose end of your strap around the tree, and you put it through that buckle, and you cinch it up, and then ratchet it tight. That was the proof right there. Somebody had gone up there and intentionally detached the stand from the tree and then scurried themselves down before they tipped away from the tree, with the intent of me getting up there and taking a heck of a dive. Well, that was the deer stand that didn't want to stand. I always say it's a deer stand that didn't. It didn't stand. Well, in a sense it stood. It stood straight up or falling away from the tree. But it didn't stand in the sense it was supposed to. So, there you go. There's a deer stand story from Sty. Don't ever go up in one of them things without checking the attachment gear on that deer stand. Somebody may have tampered with it. Don't believe they couldn't, because they can. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, if you are not subscribed, don't forget, you can always punch my ugly mug up here. So many have. Some videos on the side that you can go check out. Ring the bell if you want notifications, and I love your comments. Leave comments, I love them. Hey, this is Sty's Head. Until the next one, you all have a very, very nice day. Bye-bye.